Hi, everybody. The lesson we're going to cover today is on working with styles. In this lesson, we learn what a style is, how to create, edit, and add them. There are paragraph, character, object, table, and cell styles. Now, I went ahead and opened up the start file that we're going to need for this lesson, and that is 09_start. So I wanted to take a quick look at what we have to work with for today. I'm just going to go to the Pages panel real quick and show you. This is page 1. This is going to be here spread pages 2 and 3. Spread pages 4 and 5, and then page 6. And I'm going to go ahead and just quickly resave. Put this in my homework folder. Lesson 9. So this is going to be resaved as 09 styles. Now, when you are opening 09_start, you can update modified links. All right, so what we're going to be doing is we're going to be working with pretty much everything that is style related. We're going to be creating paragraph styles, character styles. I think there's one object style that we're going to create, a couple of table styles and cell styles, and then we're going to apply it to all 6 pages in this document. So when we are completely done, Urban Oasis Gardens will have an object style applied to it. There will be 3 instances right here of a style applied: heirloom vegetable seeds, fruits and flowers, tools and accessories. Urban Oasis Garden will be small caps in the darker green. There's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4 instances of that. The table we're going to format. And then down here on spread pages 4 and 5, there's going to be some styles that we are going to apply to format this right here and then this right here. And then underneath the headings like beans, beets, corn, melon, onions, peas, squash, we're going to have a red, it's probably that tomato red color. It's going to be the line beneath. So you guys are going to have all of that formatted. I'm going to show you how to do this section right here, and then I'll allow you guys to just finish the rest of it. And then the same object style that is on the page 1 will be applied to how to grow down here. And then the table will also match what you see on the page 3. So both tables will match. So when we are all done, this is what this is going to look like. Styles are collections of attributes that enable you to apply formatting quickly and consistently to text and objects throughout a document. Now, when you start with the lesson at the very beginning, as you are getting started, right there on the opposite page is, actually, it's kind of 2 pages actually. There's an understanding styles in there. Make sure when you guys get to that portion of the text that you be sure to read that. Creating and applying paragraph styles. Paragraph styles incorporate all elements of text formatting, including character attributes such as font, size, style, and color, along with paragraph attributes like indents, alignments, tabs, and hyphenation. They are applied to the entire paragraph at once. All right, so we are actually going to start not on page 1. We're going to start on spread pages 2 and 3. And with my type tool, I'm going to select this first, subheading right here, heirloom vegetable seeds. But before I do that, I am going to turn off hidden characters, at least for right now. Now, if you're perfectly comfortable and fine with having them on, you can leave them. If you don't, you can turn them off by going to type and hide hidden characters. So I'm going to highlight this right here, heirloom vegetable seeds. I'm going to use my properties panel. And I'm going to change the formatting, 18 point. The fill color is going to be that red tomato. And in the paragraph area down here, if you don't happen to see the space before and the space after section, you can click these three dots right here. It'll show few or more options because you want to be able to see all of them. All right, so you can expand that in the character section as well as the paragraph section. What we need right here is going to be the space before, and we do need to change this. Please make sure you all leave the inches in there. It's going to be 0.05 inches. So it created a little bit of space above, and now the space beneath, or the space after, would be between this heading right here and the text beneath. We're going to change this. Make sure, again, you leave the inches. It'll be 0.025 inches. And then I'm going to collapse that. And all of my panels that I need for today's lesson, mine, because I use them, are already docked on the right-hand side. But if for some reason yours are not, the book will walk you through having them opened. Okay, so you don't have to worry about that. A lot of them are going to be in under styles on your menu bar at the top. It's window, and under styles, everything that you're going to need for today is located in here. Okay, so once you open them, they can easily dock over here at the right hand side. With this still selected, I am going to create a new paragraph style. When I do this, it is automatically labeled paragraph style 1, and then I'm going to just double click that open. And of course, I can change the name. That's the first thing that is highlighted. This is going to be, the style name will be head 2. And this is going to be based on no paragraph style. So you just want to make sure that you're following the text closely, because the textbook's going to tell you when you're reading and working the steps exactly what you need to put in for a lot of these drop down options. So the next style is going to be intro body. Okay, and then they actually have us put a shortcut in here. Now, if you don't have a numeric keypad like on your laptop or wherever you're working from, then you can skip the shortcut. It's not a big deal. But it's actually Shift of 9 for the shortcut. But like I said, if for some reason you don't have that, oops, I have to turn my number lock. That's okay. Oops, hold on a second. All right, so it is just the Shift, and on your keypad, not the numbers at the top of your row, okay, on your keyboard. It's your actual keypad that's on the right side of your keyboard. Now, if your laptop does not have that, then don't worry about it. You can just leave the shortcut out. But it's Shift, and then it's the number 9 on your numeric keypad. You want to make sure that you can have your preview on, and then you can go ahead and click on OK. Now, there's actually a folder already that has heads in it, okay, for paragraph styles. And we can actually just use our mouse. I'm just holding down my left mouse button, and I'm just going to do a drag and drop head 2 that was just down here up into my heads, okay, folder that's already been created. And then I can take my type tool and highlight fruits and flowers, and then apply head 2. And do the same thing down here with tools and accessories, and then click on to apply as well. And then I'm going to go ahead and do a Control S and save that. Creating and applying character styles. So we just did a paragraph style. Now we're going to talk about a character style. Like paragraph styles, character styles also apply multiple attributes such as font, size, and color to text, but only to selected characters. So with my type tool, I'm going to select Urban Oasis Gardens, not the period behind it though, okay? Just the actual name, Urban Oasis Gardens. And then I'm going to apply the small caps with my type tool selected. Up in my control panel, there's actually a small caps button right here. And then of course I can go ahead and change the color, which is going to be this green medium color. And now that but you want to leave that selected, all right? See how it's still highlighted? Now I'm going to come over to my character style and I'm going to open that up and I'm going to click to create a new style. It labels it character style 1. I'm just going to double click that open and they tell us that we can rename that as garden name. And if you can do a shortcut, that's perfectly fine. It would be your Alt button, your Shift button, and 8 on your keyboard, your numeric keypad. You guys remember on the right side of your keyboard. If you can't, don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. And I'm going to go ahead and click OK. Now there are going to be 4 instances total, as I had mentioned at the start of the lecture video. We need to make sure that we get all of them. The second instance we need to apply is located on the same page, just underneath of it. And we can apply garden name. We can do the same. There's one instance of it under fruit and flowers. Make sure you don't get the period with that. And then there's one here under tools and accessories. There's an urban oasis gardens. So the styles are very similar to creating a new swatch color, because once you have, created that and it's saved in the swatches panel, or in this case in one of the styles panels, they are now available for you to use again and again. And the great thing about those is that if you have to make a change to the style, the formatting to it, once you complete the change to that formatting of that style, it will then update on all instances where it had been applied. So if I would go in and change the color to the red tomato color, as soon as I apply that change to the style in that particular styles panel, it would then take and update it everywhere where it's been applied. You guys, that is huge, because that actually keeps you from having to go from page to page to page and find where you may have used that style and then update it manually there, okay, by highlighting it and then changing the color or changing the text or the size of the text or the formatting to it. So all of that is basically handled in the respective styles panel. So that could be your paragraph, character, object, table, or cell styles panel. And then it's stored over there. It's named over there. If you need to make any changes, that panel is where you go. Then it will automatically update every instance where that has been applied. Nesting character styles inside paragraph styles. Nested styles allow you to apply separate formatting to specific portions of a paragraph that already has paragraph styles applied to it. So when you create a nested style within an existing paragraph, you're basically specifying a second set of rules for InDesign to follow while formatting the paragraph. So I am going to hop over here and scroll down to spread pages 4 and 5. And you know what? I'm just going to zoom in on this section. Now, I'm only going to show you guys how to create a couple of styles and apply them. And then I'm going to allow you guys to actually finish formatting spread pages 4 and 5. Okay, so because once the styles are created, it's super easy to do. I'm going to get my type tool. And I am going to select the name green, and I'm going to make sure that I get the little colon that is behind that name. And from the character styles panel, I am going to create a new style. Of course, it's just character style 1. And I'm going to change that to variety. And over under basic character formats, I want to change the font family to Myriad Pro. So this is going to, well, you can already see it's already changing it over here as I format because I have my preview check mark selected. So my font style is going to be bold. So see how it's already automatically changing it on the fly. That's great. Character color, I'm going to change this to the green medium swatch, and I'm going to click OK. Now, with my type tool, I'm going to select the phrase Black Valentine, and I am going to get the period, and now I'm going to create an additional style. Okay, so with this selected, I'm going to show you how you can actually change the formatting before and then create the style. On this one right here, we selected first and then formatted. Now on this one, we're going to format and then create the style, which is vice versa. So I have that selected, and I'm going to come up here in my control panel and go ahead and change that to Myriad Pro. And this one, I'm going to just have italics. So it's just going to make that stand out and be formatted differently. Now with this still selected on my screen, I can create an additional character style. And when I click that open, you'll see that it says Myriad Pro in italic. I'm going to change the name, and this one's going to be vegetable name. So all I'm going to do just quickly is show you that you can come over here and apply. And of course, since you guys are going to have a spread of this to do, they're actually going to show you a very quick and easy way to get this kind of all done at one time so that you don't have to go and highlight and apply. Okay, but just for the sake of time, because there's other things I would like to show you today, um, you guys, when you work these steps in the book, it'll be very similar to this right here, but you'll be able to kind of like mass apply styles at one time, which will be very convenient. Okay, so you'll totally cover that when you work this section in the book. So on this lecture video, I am not working every single thing. I am hitting the really big highlights to show you what you're going to be doing. So if you are following along, again, make sure that you are pausing and going step by step in the book, and then just pause that and then read and work those steps that I'm not able to cover in the video. Creating and applying object styles. Object styles let you apply and globally formatting to objects, okay? And this could be an object that's inside of a frame. By combining formatting attributes like fill and stroke and transparency and text wrap, etc. into object styles, it helps to keep the design consistent and makes for quicker formatting. So I am going to use my selection tool and just click out here in my pasteboard so that I can deselect. And then I'm going to scroll up here. I think they're just having us come up here because this is where the object is that we're going to work with, this big urban oasis gardens. So with your selection tool, you want to make sure that this is selected. All right, if it's selected correctly, of course, you're going to have your bounding box. And then up on my menu bar at the top, I'm going to go to Object and Effects. It's kind of down in the middle here. And then I'm just going to click on Transparency. So what that's going to do is open the Effects dialog box for us. And you can see transparency is here. So if we needed to make any changes to transparency, we could. But by going to transparency, it's kind of a landing point, if you will, because what they're going to actually have us to apply on this one is actually the drop shadow. And notice because I have my preview on as I'm doing this, it's applying it. All right, so drop shadow, and then it's going to be the outer glow. Now, they're just going to have us leave it, I believe, whatever values are in for drop shadow and the outer glow. I don't think they're even going to have us change that, but of course, you can totally double check as you're reading. But I think they're just leave all the settings the same. And then I'm going to go ahead and click OK. So that really kind of made that title, the Urban Oasis Gardens, it really made that pop from, off of the screen. and kind of gave it more of a 3D effect, which is great. So now what I want to do is I want to make sure that my Urban Oasis Gardens that has just been newly formatted is still selected. All right, you've got to make sure that bounding box is around that. And then I'm going to make sure that I am over in my object styles. I'm going to click that panel open. So normally if we click to create a new style, it would label it right here like object style 1, just kind of give it that generic name. But if we actually alt click on, what it does is it opens the dialog box for us. Okay, and it works the same way when we created swatches in that lesson on working with color. So if you alt click that to create a new whatever, it opens that dialog box for you, which is, hey, that's very convenient. It keeps you from creating it and then having to double click that generic name open of object style 1 just to get to the new object style dialog box. So basically you're just cutting an extra step or an extra double click out of there. Okay, so it's highlighted. Style name, we're going to change this to drop shadow. We do want to make sure apply style to selection does have a check mark in it. And then I'm going to click OK. And what I'm going to do is come down to page 6 where remember we had that other title. And you want to make sure that down here you have your selection tool. Mine's lagging. Give it just a second. So we want to make sure that we get this selected and that we get our bounding box on there. So that way we can come in and apply our same object style to it. Okay, so now that I have my bounding box around that title, I'm going to scroll down and grab my object styles. And right here is my drop shadow. I can click to apply it. And now look, that second title, How to Grow, actually matches what we did just a second ago up on our first page for Urban Oasis Gardens. So now both of those are going to match, which is exactly what we want. I'm going to do a Control S, especially since my InDesign is wanting to lag right now. All right, creating and applying table and cell styles. Table styles let you control the visual attributes of the table, such as table border, space before and after the table, the row, or the column. All right, so you've also got like the strokes in there, alternating fill patterns, etc. So cell styles let us control cell inset spacing. So remember, inset spacing is basically the space from the edge of the cell. Okay, so that could be in that cell, there could be an image or there could be text in there. And so that's just the space from the edge of the cell to where that image or that text is located. Okay, so that also allows us to control vertical justification. So centering vertically whatever is in that cell, individual cell strokes and fill, and of course diagonal lines. So let's go to page 3 where we have our first table. With my type tool selected, I'm just going to hover until I get that black arrow. Do you see that black? My cursor turns to a black arrow. Basically what that does is highlight that first row for me, almost like the header row, if you will. Hold on, everyone. I'm just flipping in my book. Okay. So what I want to do now with that selected is I am going to go to, up on my menu bar at the top, I'm going to go to Table and Cell Options, which is right here. And then I'm going to do stroke and fills. All right, once the cell options dialog box opens, under cell fill, which is down here at the bottom, you can go ahead and put a check mark in your preview if you want to. What we want to do is we want to make sure that we choose the color, which right now is none. We want to choose the green brightest swatch. Then I'm going to click OK. Okay, and then the next thing that I need to do is I'm going to have to make sure that my cell styles panel is available. And mine's docked. If yours isn't, you know where to find it. Window up on your menu bar and styles. Okay, and then under cell styles, I'm going to go ahead and I am going to click. This time, again, multiple ways to do the same thing. You could click here and then it would create the style, but you'd have to double click it. Or you could alt click or option click if you're on a Mac. All right, you can also click up here at the top and you can choose the panel options button and then come and choose new cell style. Okay, then what we're going to do is we need to put in here that we are going to name this table head, which makes sense. Down here at the bottom, we want to make sure that we have head 4. And if you look at the cell styles, it will actually tell you exactly what it looks like. Okay. And then I'm going to click on preview and then I'm going to click on OK. Now I'm going to put my cursor down here in the bottom, not in the row that we just did. Okay. You just want to make sure that we have it like in the remainder of the table. And then once we have our cursor down here in one of the remaining columns or rows or any of the cells, we are actually going to go ahead and format the rest of the table. So what we need to do is we want to put our insertion point in our table, and then we want to use our table styles. So if yours isn't open, remember you can go to Window and Styles, and then your table styles will be located in that drop down. So from my table styles, I'm going to go ahead and create a new style. Just double click into that. This one is going to be named Garden Table. Okay, and then what I want to do from here is I want to make sure that in my cell styles section at the bottom, my header row is table head, my footer row is same as body, and my body row is set to none. And I need to go over here on the left-hand side under fill. And I need to go ahead and let InDesign know for my alternating pattern. Right now it says none, but this is going to be every other row. My first row, okay, I want this color here to be the paper color. And then my next row, I want this to be the green brightest, but we are going to have to definitely tone that down. So they're going to have us change our tint to 30%. And you can go ahead and click on preview if you want to, and you can see it automatically formats if you have your preview selected. And I'm going to click on OK. Now, as you can imagine, there is that other table all the way at the end on page 6. So I'm going to put my cursor in that table anywhere. And then I can come over here to my table. Got to scroll for it. There is my table styles, and then I can select on my garden table. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and do a Control S and get that saved. All right, so both of my tables are now formatted. Globally updating styles. You have two ways to update paragraph, character, table, and cell styles. Number one, you can open the Style Options dialog box and you can make changes. Or two, you can use local formatting to modify some formatting, and then you can actually come in there and redefine the style. Okay, so I'm going to let you guys finish working the rest of this lesson. And it's actually really short. It's just a couple of pages after this particular section in the text. But I do want to remind you that you do not have to do the section on loading styles from another document. The only thing that's going to do for you guys really is to put a drop cap of an L at the very beginning. So if I come back up here into my pages and then take a look over here, it's actually just formatting this L and making it like into a drop cap. All right, so you don't have to worry about that. You can actually stop on the section right before that. So on step number 10, right above loading styles from another document, you guys are merely just going to do an edit and deselect and then do a file and save. Okay, so that's basically all that you're going to be doing. All right, so let's take a quick look again at the Pages panel on the end file, and then this is what this is going to look like when you are all done. Okay, pay close attention to spread pages 4 and 5 too, because there's work there where you guys are going to be applying the variety and the vegetable name to everything on the spread. And then, of course, the book is going to show you how to put that line beneath so that you'll have it directly underneath each one of these like headings that you see here on the page. And then, of course, this is formatted to match page 1 and 3. All right, you guys, this is it. This wraps up the entire lesson on working with styles. If you have any questions, please let me know. Have a great day. Oh, you know what? One last little PS on the end of this lesson. I forgot to point out to you guys on the table on page 3, okay? Let me show you what I mean. This is just a quick PS because I'm sorry, I forgot to cover it when I was there. All right, so we have the table here on page 3, and then we have the matching table down here on page 6. And I wanted to point out to you guys that if you get a red kind of table header, okay, this is how this is supposed to be formatted. So the table on page 6 is correct. When you apply the formatting to the table on page 3 and you don't get the red text across here, I wanted to show you that all you have to do is redefine that style. And I believe that that is a cell style. All right, so if I put my cursor in, I had just clicked on none. Okay, this is my cell style. If this happens to your table on page 3, go back, put your cursor in here. Okay, you can actually select this table, the header again, the table head that you see here, highlight that across, and do you see how there's a plus sign right there? It says overrides. Alt click to clear. Basically, all you have to do is click this button right here. It's the center button. It says clear overrides in selection. Once you do that, and then you deselect off of it, do you see how it changed that text to red? So now the table on page 3 exactly matches the table on page 6 like it is supposed to. Okay, so I wanted to, before I actually processed and closed the video out, I was like, oh, I got to come back and tell them that really quick because I know that would be helpful to you. So if you're doing your table on page 3 and you're like, hey, my text is black, don't worry about it. Highlight that row and then click on table head. If you see a little plus sign right next to this, This button is right here. Click Overrides in Selection. Once you do that, the text will automatically update and it'll be perfect. All right. Make sure if you do that, that you do one last Control S and make sure that you include that with your document when it's all said and done. All right. I promise I'm completely done this time. All right. You guys have a great day. Thanks.